Well, hi folks, hope you're well. Been a long old day, but like everything else, we fight on through, and I've got to do a video. It's a rule I have. So thank you for historical comments on my videos and the kind comments. I don't seem to get many trolls, touch wood. I think there's bigger fish for them to fry, quite frankly. And I stay off certain topics, yes. But I really do appreciate it if you would be kind enough to subscribe, because it gives one confidence that you're on the right track and saying something of interest to people. Anyway, we shall carry on. This video is a bit, I suppose, a little bit eclectic, a bit of everything for everybody. I hope, and at least at the end of the video, I hope that my audience, or those within it, come away thinking, yeah, well, I'm glad I listened to that. So, excuse me, I've been drinking fizzy water because of my indigestion. So forgive me occasionally burping, and I really do say sorry in advance. I think that I've got to the stage in my life now where many of my videos I do because I suppose 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I had to go on a journey of my own because I realized that 90% of what I knew about the world was bullshit. I'm sorry to say, because we are in the world of liars. And I've always said that I would rather live in a world of thieves than liars, because at least with thieves you can hide things, but with liars there's no escape. And that's very true. We are stuck on this world with so many liars that are out to deceive us. And it took me a long time, I think probably 25, 30 years, to really grasp that nettle and face facts that we live on a liar's world. And I'd always been brought up by my parents to work on three things. Well, two sets of three things, and try and live by them and learn by them and run my life by them. And these things are, if you have a pen and paper handy, pause the video if you like. And I taught this to my children too. We have to first ABC our lives, and every aspect of our lives we must use ABC. Okay, so the A would be never assume. Never assume. Now forgive me if you've heard this before, but it bears repeating. Never assume. The second B, the second letter then is B. Okay? Believe nada, nothing, until you've seen it checked. Okay? Assume nothing, believe nothing, and check, or if you like, confirm everything. And you won't go far wrong. Assume nothing. It doesn't matter who's telling you, because they could have been told the wrong stuff, just like they're trying to pass the parcel on to you. As much as you might love them, and they love you, assume nothing, believe nothing, confirm everything. That's the triple whammy, okay? The first three, ABC. And the next little group of three letters is man, not being sexist, okay? M-A-N. All right? When you're dealing with people and you want results fast, and you know, there used to be a saying, don't deal with the monkey, speak to the organ grinder. Well, okay, well, let's bring it up to speed. We've done the ABC, assume nothing, believe nothing, confirm everything. Now we're dealing with a man. Okay? We have to deal with a man. If we're going to sell ourselves in a job interview, because we need a job, or we're going to sell that, and it's going to require your prospect parting with money, always, or you need a decision, one way or the other. You want a decision about something that's bugging you or preventing you from doing what you want to do. Deal with the man. Brackets or woman, but it works for the MAN, so man. Deal with the person with the means. The means to put the hand in the pocket and buy it. Okay? The means. And if they buy it, have they got the means to store it? Not always about the money. Have they got the means to handle this? Then, the authority. Have they got the authority to make the decision one way or the other? Have they got the authority? A lot of people have got the money, but not many people have got the means. So that equation doesn't work. You need to speak to the person with the means and the authority to spend or not spend or make a bloody decision. One way or the other, make an authoritative decision. The authority. And the last bit, of course, is no. The need. Have they got a need for this? And if they haven't, it's up to you to generate that need in their head and become a salesperson. So you play around with the MAN and NAM and mix it around, but remember, man. Have they got the means? Yes. Have they got the authority to place an order or make a decision? Yes. Do they need to make the decision? Okay. Yes. Or do they need the need? And it's up to you to create the need. You got to sell it, because life is one big sales pitch. When you're dealing with a man, whether you want something from them or you want them to buy something from you, you're always dealing with a man. So that was covered in previous video, and I don't want you to forget that. Some time ago, there was a chap called Jim Carrey, still kicking. He's an actor. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Liar Liar. The other film that he made, which I thought was spectacular, was The Truman Story. Okay. Remembering what I said about I would rather live with a thief than a liar, because at least with a thief I can hide things. There's no escaping a liar. But it's rather funny that Jim Carrey did a film called Liar Liar, and one of the films he was in and starred in again was The Truman Story. Another monumental lie portrayed to the average people in the street is that we live on a ball. And the common denominator is Jim Carrey, the poor man. No wonder he's had a nervous breakdown. He can't take all the lies and deceit. No wonder he's just finished Liar Liar, and now he's into The Truman Story. Or not necessarily in that order, doesn't matter. But here he is again, starring in something that he knows is a bloody lie. Living on a ball is a lie. And when he's eventually got out of all this, you see, he discovered during The Truman Story that he was conned since birth. He was actually living on a flat plane, and everybody around him tried to convince him he lived on a ball. Well, it happens to the best of us, Jim, when we realise and wake up and smell the coffee, to know that the world we live upon is flat. So I can relate to Jim Carrey, and I know why he's lost the plot. I know precisely, and so do you. But isn't it funny? The big thing for me, discovering this, was that I concluded that from our birth to our death we are lied to continuously. Who lied to us? Well, our family lied to us, some of them. Maybe not in a nasty way, but sometimes. Politicians lie to us. Teachers lie. These are the people in trust. Never mind in God we trust. We trust politicians to tell the truth. Well, that's a joke. We trust our teachers to tell us the truth. Well, it's called pass the parcel, isn't it, with lies? The teachers are just repeaters. There's nothing original about teachers. They're just reading out of one book, reporting the lie as they've been told to, and they report that lie to us, and then we pass it on to our children, they pass it on to our grandchildren, etc. It's ever likely there's no development in this world, and we maintain the lie. And anybody who's going to contradict the lie is ridiculed and belittled and thought a maverick. So it's blatantly obvious that to the educated people who go out and take time out and realise that we live on a flat plane. Ask a simple question: why has nobody circumnavigated the world from north to south to north? They don't, because they can't. And the North Pole is smack dead centre in the middle of the circle that is absolutely static. Anything moving away from the North Pole is going south. We only have north and south, folks. A magnet only has north and south. A magnet doesn't have north, east, west, east, does it? Of course not. But they expect us to believe our world has north, east, south, west, when we only have two poles to our planet, our plane. Forget the T on the end. That stands for tits who believe it. Why would a magnet only have north and south? Well, they named it north and south. Just opposite poles. That's all. Not a pole that sticks up. It's in our face. And I want to slap people who just don't grasp. Yeah, but if you look at all the evidence, the bullshit that people believe, it's if they can get away with that old coconut, the ball earth, and we swallow this, they could sell us anything, and haven't they just? It's staggering how we can go through our whole life believing such a monumental yet easily provable wrong lie. What shysters people are to one another. It's an absolute satanic thing. I was trying to figure out what's the motivation before. I mean, if you look at the ancient species of ancient people in history, Sumerians, Egyptians, the Incas, it would never occur to them that the world is a ball. Are you having a laugh? It's only us idiots. After the Copernicus times, we're the only mugs in town. We're so stupid. And we still think we live on a ball. Oh, beam me up, Scotty. We are so easy. We make it so easy for these people to lie and manipulate. Television, lie vision. That's about the sum of it. Education in this world, it would be nice to have some. It really would. And the people I feel sorry for are the children. But even the children would laugh at you if you said you live on a flat earth. But children are very receptive to new ideas, but they just don't, they'll go with the flow. They don't want to be the only one that sticks out from the crowd, do they? And this is the difficulty. Oh, well, look, Dad, I believe that we live on a flat earth, but I'm not going to tell my mates. But they should be proudly telling their friends. But the ridicule that would be as a result of them saying that, it's too hard to bear. So it's better just to go with the flow. I don't want the hassle, man. But what goes on in here is the important thing for everybody, not what comes out of your mouth. Assume nothing, believe nothing, and check everything. Well, if you ABC'd what they told you in primary school, the first school you go to, and wondered why it is, but at 4 or 5 years old, when you've got a globe in your hand and the teacher's got posters all over, you're bound to be so impressionable. You're such a sucker, aren't we? We're such suckers. But the Egyptians had no such education. And look what they did. The Incas, ancient tribes, ancient civilizations, the Romans, it was all flat to them. But what does it matter to them or now? Well, of course it matters. The only reason they've started to talk about we live on a ball is if they can get away with that coconut. Oh man, you can imagine the conversation with Copernicus. It's a religious decision. We'll con them. And if we can con them into believing about an imaginary friend called Jesus, up there in the cloud, listening to everyone on the planet's thoughts and prayers, and yes, oh, he's always by my side, yada, yada, yada. Oh, if we can con them into that old coconut, when we have to realise that all religion is a con. It is a man-made construct. It is a man-made story. We live in an astrotheological world, folks. On an astrotheological world. We are governed by the surface of the flat earth we stand upon, looking at the stars above us, and that is that. And we still believe that we got a chance to go out to land on Mars, and we're going to, Trump's going on about landing on the moon again because the Russians beat us for the first time. It's a load of crap. For a start, the sun and the moon are within our firmament, because above the sun and the moon is the glass dome. And above that dome, further up, are the Van Allen belts. So even if we were magical enough to get through the firmament, and God knows they tried blasting 2,000 bombs next to it trying to break through, idiots, because all that is above the firmament is water. Then there's air, and below us is water. As above, so below. And I ain't religious. It's fluid. So we grasp that and we believe that, if that's your thing, as I do. It begs the question, when have we ever not been lied to? I can't think of a day in my life I haven't been lied to by somebody. Fluoride's good for your teeth. That's a lie. Inoculations work and they're very good for you. That's a lie. You should get your pets inoculated. Your dogs. Why? My dogs haven't been inoculated. They haven't been sick in a day in their lives, touch wood. Not once. Oh, you need a boosters for your dogs and your cats and your bollocks. Because once you've been exposed, if you do have the initial vaccination, you don't need the boosters. Another way of milking the money out of you. Death and taxes. Dead certainties. Absolutely. Well, I'll add another one to that. Death, taxes, and a pack of bloody lies. Liar, liar, pants on fire. And yet we slap our children, don't we, and discipline them for lying. But hey, why don't we slap the politicians and the scientists and the religious bastards out there that have been having it too good for too long, sucking on the tit of our generosity? What a cushy bloody life. Get up in the morning. You know, 1 day a week these shysters work on a Sunday, or if they're Jewish, they'll work on a Saturday and have Sunday off in the synagogues. Another lie for the Jews. Yes, circumcision. What's that all about then? Well, it saves sacrificing the child, the firstborn son. No, they'll sacrifice a bit of it. Talk about a compromise, my boy. What a lot of nonsense. It's child abuse, that's what it is, especially when the bloody rabbis get their filthy, plaque-ridden teeth, and some of them bite the foreskin off with their teeth. I'm sorry to be so graphic, but the kid gets a nasty infection and probably herpes off the filthy bloody rabbis that do that procedure. Oh vey, let's celebrate biting the kid's foreskin off. Yay, for what? The kid had no choice. The children should sue their parents for assault when, as soon as they're old enough, get a few million out of a papa, a mama, for doing that to him without his decision. Adults have to sign a consent form before somebody takes a knife to them. Where's the consent for? Oh, well, I speak for the baby. It's good, yes. It's a disgraceful form of child abuse. That's what circumcision is. I don't care if the kid needs it by the time they're 16, 17. They can sign their own consent forms to the operation when they're informed, not because some idiot, filthy, mealy-mouthed rabbi believes some bullshit about the bloody story of the Bible. The chosen ones. That's a lie. There was never ever any chosen ones in the history of the world. Never. The lost tribes. There was no lost tribes. Jesus was never roaming this world, folks. Never. It was a complete myth. Okay? An allegory. That's all. A story. That's why it says the Bible is the greatest story ever told. It's a story. Duh. Think about this. This is why I want you to do ABC. Assume nothing, believe nothing, and confirm everything. And get that into your children's heads fast before it's too late. Stop eating vegetable oils. Stop having inoculations. Go to measles parties and get yourself a natural immunity. Nobody died of measles. They wanted to catch the measles, but they died of inoculations. They become autistic. I see America's actually contesting a lot of autistic claims now from parents whose children have had to undergo 17 inoculations before school. It's ever likely they're as dumb as a bag of frogs. Most American millennials couldn't tell you who the last 4 presidents were of the United States. They couldn't tell you where Brazil is on the map. They couldn't tell you where Australia is because they don't care. It's not because they don't care. It's they don't bother their learning. They don't get taught this. It's not their fault. It's what the liars want to do. And they get away with it. Where do we go from here? What possible way, until we wake up and smell the coffee, are we going to advance as a species on this earth? Well, we're not going to, folks. We are destined for failure. Because this rabbit hole goes very deep, this rabbit hole of deception. They have us from all angles, from the money to health, accommodation, borders, language and culture. Oh God, if we can swallow the fact is we live on a ball, oh, they can sell us any shit, can't they? And they do. Christmas, Halloween, Guy Fawkes, you name it. I could take you down to London and sit you in front of 25 people or 25 children on Guy Fawkes night and say, tell me, what do you know about Guy Fawkes? Duh. The best they could do, the best, but 99% of them could do would be say, oh, that was the guy who tried to blow up Houses of Parliament. They'd be the educated ones. The other ones would go, who's Guy Fawkes? Oh yeah, that guy we throw on a fire when we were having Guy Fawkes, when we had fireworks. Yeah, do you know why they did that to him? No. Who was Guy Fawkes? What did he do? Why did he do what he did? Or tried to do? Most people don't know. Isn't that a sad testament? But most people play with bloody fireworks on November the 5th, driving animals crazy, including my dogs. But we haven't just got them on November the 4th now, have we? No, we got them all throughout the year by the bloody morons out there. This is what we're dealing with, morons. They could tell you what's on telly and, hey, honey, hurry up, he's going to go for the prize. Let's get the questions right, see if we can get a prize. They'll know where their match is playing home and away this weekend, and who's playing who and who's zooming who, which film star's knocking off the other film stars' wives. But they can't tell you the important stuff. They can't tell you the basics. And that's just where the elite 1% want us. We truly are lambs to the slaughter for these people. And I'm nothing special. I'm just a worm who's turning. I've had to self-educate. Yes, I've had to delete, like press delete on my brain from practically everything I learnt at school of any common sense. It wasn't that common. All the data I amassed and believed like a sucker because I didn't think they would lie to me. And boy, oh boy, do they lie. You talk about the snaky tongue, the forked tongue. Oh, this world is full of servants. Sorry, full of serpents. Slip of the tongue there, the forked one. Isn't it just like these people are snakes? They're lower than a snake's belly. They couldn't get any lower, these bastards. We moan about the politicians being liars. We know they're bloody liars. But we still vote for them because, well, you know, it's a case of lesser of two evils with them. That's if you're into voting. If you know, why do you encourage them? Why bother voting, for Christ's sake? It only encourages them. And they're all the same. Why? What possible reason would it make any slightest bit of difference in your life to vote? Because it won't. Because if it did make a difference, as one of my wonderful subscribers said, if voting did make a big difference, they wouldn't let us vote. But it's worth a gamble to keep the idiots and animals on the farm happy to think we do have a choice, to be deluded that we have a choice about what the hell's going on, what information comes in our ears or through our eyes or up our bloody nose or in our lungs via the chemtrails. But if we can vote on it, oh, that's an illusion that we have power. And we're not. We don't want to admit we're absolutely impotent and powerless. And we have children to raise as adults, to become adults. It ain't easy, because if you want to teach your kids the truth, by God, they've got a tough road ahead of them. Because everyone they're going to be surrounded by will be being taught lies. That's what you have to start off with. Assume nothing, believe nothing, and confirm everything. And then move on and accept. And only deal with the man, the means, the authority, and the need. The need to know the truth, the authority to actually say it and have the balls to say it. And the means, do they have a computer to do their own videos? And I'm a man. I have the means, I have a computer, I have the authority. Because I've had life experience and I've been down that camp and I've been down that camp, and I can tell you which camp's the truer one, and the truth is the better camp. not the lies and the deceit. That's believing the lies and the deceit has got me nowhere. And that's where they want us, nowhere. Because once you stop earning, you're useless. You're a useless eater, as Henry Kissinger calls people. After that, just get rid of them. The taxpaying unit has served its purpose. Well, I'm more than a taxpayers unit. I'm as mad as hell about this. And I'm not going to listen to their shit. I'm not going to believe their flat earth bollocks. And I'm not going to believe the religious bollocks. I'll believe it when I've done my due diligence. I won't sign the contract of compliance without reading the bloody micro print, never mind the small print, and even then that's suspect, because some lying bastard's written it. Because they wouldn't leave such small print and deception to an amateur. But we have to start off with the assumption, folks, that they're liars. And then try your best to prove that they're not. But the evidence suggests so far to me, the preponderance of evidence is that we are surrounded by a sea of liars and deceit and evil on this world, and we think we know evil. We haven't even started yet. We've just had a little taste, a little aperitif. Aperitif, if I can get mine in. A little starter. Because what's to come to us? Well, we have no idea what's coming our way, folks. You think, oh, it might be World War III. We are in, here's a newsflash, World War III. All that happened in 1945 after the end of the war was that it started World War III began the day World War II finished. And another monumental lie, Winston Churchill, the great hero, he was a compulsive liar. And he was a pisshead. He spent most of the war years lying through his bloody teeth, lying to the British population about, we were very, half the speeches were done by another person, actually with a voiceover, because Winston Churchill was 9 sheets to the wind. He was pissed as a fart throughout 90% of his bloody time during the war. He was a lying, thieving, cheating bastard. And he was the cause of the Coventry Blitz. Response from Germany when Coventry was flattened, that was Winston Churchill's fault, because he flattened Dresden, because he wanted a war. Hitler was a broke alcoholic bum. Until the war started and he found his reason to live. Oh no, he found his financial bloody lifeline. He wanted a war with Germany. And here's another lie. Hitler was never as bad as he was portrayed. Hitler wanted peace with Great Britain. He had no truck with Great Britain. But Winston Churchill wanted a fight because it kept him in a bloody job, it kept him in whiskey and kept him in checkers. What would his life otherwise would have been? You see, before the war he was having to fake bloody paintings of old masters and sell them to the Eastern Bloc. That's how he was making his living. No wonder he was borderline, he was an alcoholic then, he was borderline bankrupt in fact. He had to borrow £110,000 off a very rich friend of his. Don't talk to me about Winston Churchill. He also wanted to bomb huge hundreds of kilometres acreage of Germany with anthrax. We were going to carpet bomb Germany with anthrax bombs. Do you know they tested anthrax out on one very, very distant little part of Scotland, one of the little islands off Scotland. And they did this in 1939 and 1940. And even today, that little part of the island is absolutely dead of life. Can you imagine if Winston Churchill's wishes of carpet bombing Germany, north and south, of course, because it was just Germany then, it would still be uninhabitable now. So much for a pisshead like Churchill who was outvoted on that decision, thank Christ. That's another illusion. Churchill, V for victory. No, it wasn't. A V for a very big fuck up. Basically, in a huge ego. It's been proven so many times that Churchill knew in advance when London was going to be bombed and got in his car and pissed off to Chequers in Buckingham, well away from London, and then, when it's all finished, snuck back in through the back door of 10 Downing Street, put his Air Commodore's uniform on, his military Air Force uniform, which he had absolutely no right to wear. Air Commodore. Churchill, what a joke. Absolutely no right to wear an Air Commodore uniform and go to the people. Oh, Winston, we knew you wouldn't desert us in our irony during the Blitz last night. You never fight him on the beach. What? He didn't do these. He didn't. By the time they were going to be broadcast and recorded for broadcast, he was as pissed as a fart. I bet you didn't know that. Unless you listen to David Irving and read his books and realise that, again, our history is written by the victors. And boy, do they big themselves up. You see, another lie is perpetrated on the general public. What do? Carnation, we have parties in the street. The Union Jack, oh yes, the Queen, kiss her ass, the royal family, the Saxon-Coburg Goths. But I tell you something. I can guarantee you in 1939, during the war period, was it well known amongst the general population that our royal family of this country, Great Britain, United Kingdom, and a bunch of Germans with Nazis? They were lucky to get it. No wonder they kept their bloody head down. Nobody really truly knew then, did they? They didn't know that Prince Philip was a Greek with Nazis sympathising, and then the Saxon-Coburg Goths, the bloodlines of our bloody royal family, are German? Oh no. They don't teach this at our school, do they? No. Windsors, they're the Windsors. They daren't say Saxon-Coburg Goth Germans. Another lie fed to us as children. Wave that Union Jack and shut your face. What a joke. Folks, I'm going to sign off now. Remember, the world we live on is flat. It doesn't rotate. The sky, the stars rotate around us. The sun and the moon are equidistant and equisize, equi-height, same height from the surface of our world. They go round and round the garden like a teddy bear chasing one another. And just 3 times a year the sun goes that little bit faster and it catches the moon up 3 times a year. And guess what? We have our eclipses at that point. That's all. And the stars rotate like they have done since the world began. In the same shape, the Big Dipper's still the Big Dipper. We got the Pisces, we got the Zodiac, and it hasn't changed since the Egyptian times, or even before then. Wake up. Teach your children ABC, MAN in life, and they won't go far wrong. Believe it or not, it's absolutely true. Love you all. Thanks for your comments. Take care. And don't forget, no point praying to an imaginary friend called Jesus. You just got to look after yourself and start with having a spring clean and deprogram yourself and spread the word just like the gospel.